Hey guys, welcome to Sandy's Story Time. Okay, so today I am going to share with you a few of my online dating experiences. Now, there's a bit of a disclaimer here. Please do not think I'm mean in any of these. I'm just telling you what happened in my experience on these dates, in my words and my opinions. Also, I want to note that these dates I met on a dating app. No, it was not Tinder, but it was an app. It was a free app, and since then I have joined a paid dating site. Yes, I have. Oh yeah, I have. It's a huge experiment here. So that will be another video letting you know my dates, messages, etc. But for now, I'm gonna let you know what happened on some recent online dating stories. So I have to read this because it's long. So I've been trying to be more open-minded and not as rigid as I usually am when it comes to online dating. As most of you know, I'm vegan, 52, no children, and a recovering alcoholic. So I don't drink, I do not smoke, I do not do drugs, and I'm tall. So that's me in a nutshell. So when it comes to finding somebody compatible, it's been extremely difficult. The advice I've been getting lately is that no one is perfect, and that I'm not going to find somebody with all the qualities and the criteria that I'm looking for in a potential partner. That I need to meet people that maybe don't have all the things I'm looking for because I'm being too picky. So I set off for my quest for an online connection a couple months ago, and I joined 3 dating apps, but really I think these ones are all from the same one, and was extremely specific about what I was looking for, what my preferences were, etc. I met 6 men so far, yeah, and let me tell you, it's been interesting to say the least. I also spoke to one person on the phone and never met them, so we just had like a phone date, and I'm going to include him as well, okay, because it was just an interesting story. So please don't fast forward, because date number 6 is a doozy, and it'll make it worth the wait. I'll try to talk fast through these. Okay, so date number 1, let's call him Larry. Larry's 56 and divorced. He lives an hour and a half away. We met at a park and he showed up on his motorcycle with coffee. He was 6'5", nice start, with long white socks. Okay, Larry. He had told me that he was vegetarian in our chat. When he met me, however, he told me that he eats meat and dairy when he's out, or when he's at someone's house so that he doesn't hurt their feelings. So I don't know if we had like a different definition of vegetarian, but I'm being open-minded. Okay. He proceeded to tell me all about his ex-wife that he'd been married to for 30 years. That's pretty standard on dating men in their 50s. He told me that he had tons of money. He told me this. Yet his sunglasses were broken and he had the lens glued together with crazy glue. I don't care about that. He mentioned it. He told me this was because he was frugal. He dyed his hair a very strange, almost orange color, but that is totally understandable, since during this time I also dyed my hair a very strange orange color. Yay, we had something in common. I've since then tried to fix my hair, so we had something in common. He told me a few of his dating stories. All the women he dated ended up not liking him. He didn't know why. It could possibly be that he talked about his marriage and ex-wife for an entire hour. Oh, and he gave me the recipe in full detail for homemade sourdough bread. Conclusion, nice man, not for me. Date number 2. This is the phone chat. Let's call him Jim, because I honestly can't remember his name. Jim is 62, and he said that he was vegan. So when we spoke on the phone, the very first thing that he told me is that he doesn't eat. It was just like, I don't eat. He said he rarely eats food at all. This was like his opening line, which, okay. Jim doesn't eat. He meditates a lot. He has 5 kids and an ex-wife that he was married to for 31 years. He talked about her a lot. Then he proceeded to tell me that he wasn't vegan anymore and that plants have feelings. I told him I was ready to hang up, actually. But then he proceeded to tell me a super long story about how he had his sons try an experiment putting 3 separate beans into plastic bags with a wet paper towel and tape them to his screen door. This is his story. And each day they were supposed to be mean to the first bean and say, "I hate you, bean. You're an ugly bean. Nobody likes you, bean." They were supposed to be neutral to the second bean, just be like, "Hey, bean," but that was it. And they were supposed to praise the third bean. "I love you, bean. You're my best friend, bean. I want to hug you, bean." The moral of the story was the third bean grew and the first bean died, and the middle bean, I forget what happened. Conclusion, beans feel pain according to Jim. And then I blocked him. Sorry, Jim. Date number 3, let's call him Nick. So Nick claimed to be 55 and 5'11". And the only reason why I am mentioning this is because it was an absolute lie. He was shorter than me and I'm 5'10". And again, just be honest, you know what I mean? But like, don't lie and say you're 5'11" and show up being shorter than 5'10", because why? If we're ever gonna meet in real life, I'm gonna know how tall you are, but okay. I saw his profile on another site where he was 59. So I'm pretty sure he was honest in the 59 one and not in the 55 one, which is still fine, but just be honest. Why the lies, people? Why the lies? Continuing on, we met at the park. I prefer the park because it's a daytime meeting, it's neutral, it's, you know, it's a good place. Nick showed up on his motorcycle, it must be a thing, and seemed fairly normal. So we went for a walk and he told me all about, you guessed it, how he was married for 30 years, and he told me all about his ex-wife. The actual date wasn't that bad. I just didn't feel any connection or any type of romantic feelings at all. So then he messaged me nonstop after, and when I told him I just wanted to be friends, he asked me what he did wrong. I said nothing, that it was just me and not him. I know, but I just didn't know, and maybe somebody can comment on this, of how to say I had no spark without hurting his feelings, you know. He proceeded to get very angry, and he sent me a few angry messages, and then a few weeks later sent me a message telling me that I lied to him, led him on, and dumped him. Excuse me, but I didn't realize that going for a 1-hour walk in the park was considered going steady. But anyways, I asked him what I lied about, and he said that I told him that it was me and not him, and I was lying because I was still on a dating app looking for a relationship. So then I replied, funny you should mention lying, since you lied about your age and your height. Conclusion, block Nick. Milo, it's okay. Milo didn't like the story about Nick either. Date number 4, let's call him Rick. So Rick is 41 and good looking. He lived an hour and a half away. He told me it was his birthday and he'd like to spend it with me. So he drove here and met me at the park. He was really nice and very interesting. He'd been to over 30 countries and had worked in the Netherlands for the last 7 years. He was smart, he was funny, and I was really enjoying his company. At the end of the walk, he asked if I wanted to go somewhere and have a drink. I said yes, and we went to an outdoor patio. Now, for the record, I don't have a problem dating somebody that drinks alcohol, just not excessively. So we stayed for a few hours and talked, and it was enjoyable. Very interesting guy. He drove me home, and then he asked me if he could have a hug. I said yes, and I almost kind of crushed him with my Amazonness, like, you know, because yeah. I think he wanted to kiss, and it was so awkward. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's not, no. Like, do you know what I mean? It was just weird. It was all kind of, you know, that awkwardness when somebody goes to kiss you and you don't really want to kiss them, and then you kind of get the side face thing, awkward. Yeah, just whatever. He texted me and said, sorry for the awkward goodbye. You never know a person's comfort level. I appreciated that. That was nice. We messaged the next day and never heard from him again. So, you know what? Maybe Rick didn't like me, and I'm okay with that. So, yeah, that was not a failure per se. I just, you know, maybe it was the distance. Maybe he didn't like me. Maybe it was just whatever. I'm fine with that one. Date number 5. Let's call him Carlo. Carlo is 57 and short and really old looking. But hey, I'm trying to be more open-minded. And yes, I know it's not all just about looks, but like, you have to have some sort of physical attraction. But like I said, I'm trying to stay open-minded because, you know, everybody says, you know, it's not just looks, and, you know, maybe the person's personality is going to be amazing. And so, yes, and I agree with that. It's just, there does have to be some sort of physical attraction. And like I've said before, what I'm physically attracted to probably isn't what most people are physically attracted to. I mean, no offense to any men that I've gone out with, like long term, but most people are just like, really? Him? That guy? You went out with that guy? And it's like, what I find attractive might be totally different from the standard of what somebody else would find attractive. Back to Carl. So short and really old looking. We met at the park. He was late. And Milo, stop barking. And it was like 100,000,000 degrees out. It was so flipping hot. He pulled up in his rusty van, which, okay, that's fine, and said fist pump when he got out and proceeded to fist pump. Okay, Carlo. Then he said, I got you something. And he pulled out a dead flower with the roots and dirt still on it that he obviously stole from somewhere, which I appreciate the gesture. I didn't know what to say, so I said, oh, that's sweet. Thank you. Then I was thinking, now, do I have to walk around for an hour in this hot heat holding this dead flower? But he put it on the mirror of his van and we proceeded to go for our walk. He told me that he designed video games and that he made billions of dollars. And again, I don't care about money. I've never cared about money. People just feel the need, I guess, to tell you this. I don't know if they're trying to impress you, probably, but I really don't care. But apparently he makes billions of dollars. And then, of course, he proceeded to tell me about his ex-wife. So I was sweating like a mother at this time. So when we got to the parking lot, I said that I was really hot and that I didn't want to walk anymore, which was the honest to God truth. Like, I mean, it was hot. Did I mention it was hot? So he said, oh, I guess you've had enough of me, which of course made me feel bad. And so he walked me home and it was really awkward. We weren't really talking. It was just kind of weird. And then he messaged me the next day saying he wanted me to answer a question. Do I want to go out again? And then he gave me the choice of 1, yes, absolutely, or 2, no, I don't think we're a match. So he answered his own question and put 1, and I answered 2 and said, sorry. Conclusion, Carl and his dead flower meant well, just not for me. Date number 6. Here we go. This one is a bit of a wild card. Okay, let's call him Cody. So Cody is 43 and he's tall and he's good looking. We met on a walking path when it again was one of the hottest days ever. And I was pleasantly surprised when I saw him in person. He looked a lot better than his pictures. Not that his pictures were bad, but it was just, wow, you're better looking in person. So I was instantly attracted to him, and he was very talkative and polite and funny and interesting. So pretty good so far. We walked and talked for a long time, and we were both sweating our asses off when he suggested we go for something to eat. So he pulled out his phone and he searched vegan restaurants. Yes, this date is going well. Although I knew he wasn't vegan, he told me that he had tried a plant-based diet before and he knew that it had a lot of benefits. So I appreciated that. He was very open-minded about the topic, and that was very refreshing. So we walked to a vegan restaurant, outdoor patio. Our conversation was awesome. He was engaging, easy to talk to. I was seriously having a great time. He loved the food. Everything seemed really cool. You know there's gonna be a but. And then we got on to the discussion of online dating, which is a pretty common topic when you are on an actual online date. So I told him about some of the crazy profiles I had seen and about a few men where they said they were in open relationships and they were married and they wanted people to join them, or they had the okay to date other women, their wife was cool with it, and or they were polyamorous. So he asked me what I thought about it, and I told him that it wasn't for me. Then he told me that he recently just got out of a polyamorous relationship with 4 women. Okay. Breathe, Sandy. So at this point, my heart sank a little. Don't get me wrong, I don't care if people want to have a polyamorous relationship or whatever they want to do. I honestly don't care, as long as everybody's cool with it and you're not hurting anybody. You do what you want to do. But it's just not something that I personally would be interested in. So he began to tell me how he met a woman and she introduced him to the lifestyle. And I have to be honest, it was a lot to take in. There were a lot of details in the story that I really didn't necessarily need to know. He said all the women were totally cool with it and that that's the way the world is now. He was only dating 1 woman now. He was down to 1 from the 4, and she lived out of town because the other 3 had fallen madly in love with him. So then, you know, that wasn't gonna work. And that was kind of my point at the beginning of our conversation on this topic. I'd said, well, like eventually somebody's gonna get feelings. Someone is gonna get more feelings than just, oh, hey, I'm just cool with this casual thing, right? And he's like, no, they're all just cool with it, and we know like the rules of the game sort of thing, and this is it. But then they all fell madly in love with him. And I said, well, that just proves my point, because, you know, I think deep down, this my opinion, that each of these women were probably like, oh yeah, I'm cool with it. But in their heads, they're thinking, but he's really gonna pick me in the end, and I'm gonna like win or whatever, or, you know, he's gonna choose me. That's just my take on it. It's my theory. So, you know, he walked me home. He asked me if I would consider going out with him again. And I said, not if he was dating someone else. He asked if we could go out as friends, and I said no. So we hugged goodbye. And then he texted me while he was still in the parking lot to tell me how much he enjoyed meeting me and wanted to see me again. And I did like him. I will tell you, I did. So we continued to text, and he said he really wanted to see me and that he had never met anyone like me. Sure. He told me he was ending things with the other woman and proceeded to go away for the weekend and wanted to get together when he got back. Now, I know what you are thinking right now, that I must be pretty naive, because I honestly thought that he was going out of town for work. I don't know why, but I don't know, our wires got crossed somehow, and that is what I thought. So we arranged for a date when he got home, and I can't remember, honestly, the last time I was so excited to see someone new and go out on a date, because I rarely have second dates with anyone, and I was looking forward to seeing him. So I put on a dress, and did my hair, my nails for the first time in a very long time. And I felt pretty, and I honestly, I haven't felt that way in probably years. So yeah, there's that. He picked me up, and I was feeling all those feelings, you know, like I was excited. We got in his car, and I asked him how his weekend was, and he said that he went to see the other woman. And my heart literally sank, and I could feel the tears in my eyes, and he said that he thought that I knew. And he told me that they were intimate the whole entire weekend, and he thought that I understood that that was the deal, and that he was going to see her, and that that was what was going on. Obviously, I didn't get the memo. He still wanted to go to dinner, said we had a lot to discuss, and I agreed to. I know. When we got to the restaurant patio, we ordered our food, and it started pouring rain. So we ran inside, waited for our food. He suggested we go to his place and eat and talk. I know. He promised he wouldn't try anything with me. I was hungry, so I agreed. Just kidding. I was, but yeah. For some reason, I liked him, and I still wanted to hear what he had to say. So we got to his place, and then the serious discussion began. I will break it down in point form. 1, since being in a polyamorous relationship, everyone had to have an STD test and sign a contract that they would not have sex with anyone outside the relationship. 2, he had to have sex at least 4 times a day. 3, he had all the women on a schedule as to when he could see them for sex. And they were all cool with that. 4, he wanted to show me the contract. 5, he wanted to show me pictures of the other women. He wanted to show me text messages from the other women, proving to me like how awesome he is and how they all just are dying to be with him. He said that I was showing my age. You know that's not going to sit well with me. In thinking that no one is monogamous anymore. That it's old-fashioned and everyone's cool with poly relationships, at least all the women he knows. 8, I will never find a man that doesn't cheat on me. All the men that I have been with have cheated on me, according to him. 9, he regrets being honest with me because now I'm judging him. 10, that if I didn't want to date him, he had a ton of other women that he could call that would be thrilled to go out with him. And then he said to me, your loss. And I said, actually, it's yours. There were other very personal, disturbing things that he told me that I don't feel comfortable with. Yeah, I don't even think I can I can read the rest of them. But anyways, let's just say that in the end, He messaged me and I told him that I just didn't think that I was the right fit for him, obviously. I thought about it and I didn't think that we should see each other again. Like, I mean, obviously, this isn't going to be for me. I am a monogamous, old-fashioned, if that's what you want to call it, person. I want to have a relationship with one person, not several. And again, I don't judge that. Like, hey, I don't care what you do, but I don't want to do that. And I don't think that the whole world is doing it. There may be some people that are, but I'm not one of them. So there's that. Then I did tell him that I was insulted by his comments and actions, and that I don't want him to have to change for me, you know, because he's just going to end up resenting me. So really, it's a lose-lose situation. When I went over all the things that were said, it was just too much for me. And he asked me to think about things, give it a chance, and the last line was the ultimate. He wrote, "You deserve me." Pardon me? Then one last text, and this is the text. "So just to be clear, instead of giving this opportunity a valid attempt and having an adult conversation about your concerns, you lead me on and toss me aside, even after asking me to end things with another before we could explore this opportunity. I was brutally honest with you, as I respect you. Clearly, you would have preferred me to be less honest. Thank you for the lesson. I wish you could have afforded me more time, patience, and understanding the same way I afforded you. I truly believe that this would have been an amazing experience, and I actually cared for you. That's why this hurts so much. You are judging me so harshly, and I allowed myself to be so honest and vulnerable with you. So that's my mistake. I'm an idiot for not listening to you when you were warning me. So I'm truly sorry that you didn't want my love or attention." Conclusion? Well, I don't even really think I need to say a conclusion, but in my opinion, Cody is a sex-addicted narcissist that was trying to brainwash me into joining his polyamorous harem cult. And I forgot, there's date number 7, but I think we got a couple minutes. Okay, date number 7, let's call him Ken. We'll do Ken really quick. Ken's 51, he's good looking, he's athletic, tall, and he talks a lot. He lives 2 hours away, and he suggested coming to meet me to go for a bike ride since I live near a bike trail. We spoke on the phone a few times before we met, and I liked his deep voice. I found him very personable and interesting. My first impression when we met face to face, that he was much better looking in person, and he seemed a bit anal. He was very particular about bike safety and clothing and rules and stuff. Not that these are bad things, don't get me wrong. We rode for quite a long time, and I suggested we stop at this place for gelato. We got our gelato and sat out on a bench talking, and I think he was worried that someone was gonna steal our bikes, so he moved them closer. Just little things, but nothing major in the grand scheme of things. We had a nice chat, rode back to another park. We stopped and chatted again. I enjoyed his company. He was polite, talkative, interesting, very nice guy. We had goodbye. He called me about 5 minutes later, wanting to tell me that he enjoyed meeting me and hoped that we see each other again. Very sweet. Then I didn't hear from him for 2 days. Yeah, I know, I can reach out too. So I finally did, and we ended up resuming our chatting and texting. And he said that he wanted to meet me again the following weekend to take me out for dinner. Now, this is a tricky one for me. I've never actually gone on a dinner date with someone that didn't eat plant-based, at least on the date. And this is where I ask myself, is it okay to suggest that the non-vegan person orders something plant-based on the date? We would have been meeting halfway in a tourist town that didn't have any vegan restaurants, so I suggested that we just go to the beach. And I offered to bring snacks and drinks. So he seemed a bit apprehensive, and over the next few days kept suggesting dinner, and I kept suggesting the beach. I told him if he hated the beach or really didn't want to go, that I was fine with that, like just tell me, right? And he said he loved the beach, but was afraid that the water wouldn't be clean and the beach wouldn't be clean. Long story short, which is going to be a theme of date number 2 with Ken, we agreed on the beach. He drove all the way to pick me up, which is totally out of the way, and I really appreciated that. He talked nonstop all the way there, about an hour. And I know, yes, I talk a lot. So maybe I was getting a dose of my own medicine on this date because I literally didn't talk, but that's fine. Hey, he talks, that's great. When we finally got there, it was around 2 in the afternoon, started getting cloudy and really windy. So we put down our towels and I said that I want to go into the water, and he walked me to the water but didn't want to go in, which is totally fine. He asked if he could hold my hand and we walked down the beach. Normally this would be romantic, but it was really rocky and really windy, and he was talking the entire time. We got back to our towels and I put out some snacks, and as we walked past some people cooking meat, he commented on how good it smelled. I know, I'm trying here, people. I am trying. He didn't want the iced tea that I brought him because he said he had too much sugar in it. That's fine. Then the people in front of us started feeding the seagulls. And guess what happened next? I got crapped on by a seagull. And not just a little bit, a lot. So much so that it splashed onto Ken. Of course, he had wipes, so we cleaned off, and the sky turned black, the wind picked up, and it started to rain. So he proceeded to tell me another story that was at least an hour long, and I am not exaggerating right now. Now, let me be clear. I know, I talk a lot. I know this. I tell long, dragged out stories, probably like this one, that go off topic and never end. I realize this. So basically now I do know what it would probably be like to go on a date with myself. It began to pour rain, so I kind of started packing things up, and he just continued telling this hour-long story. So we got under a shelter and he asked me if we should try to wait it out. It didn't look like it was going to clear up, so I suggested we go back to the vehicle. He said, well, let's wait. I can finish my story. About 10 minutes in, I was starting to get cold, so I asked him if we could go to the vehicle. Remember, it is pouring, like pouring rain, like hurricane rain right now, okay? As we walked to the vehicle, he was continuing the story, like the whole entire time. We got into the vehicle, he continued the story. When it ended, I can't even remember how the ending now, but wait, there's more. He had another story to tell me. And this one ended up taking us basically the whole ride home. He suggested stopping at a seafood restaurant to eat. No. And then he asked me if they sold vegan subs at Subway. And I had a feeling that he'd order a meat and cheese sub. I know that's being presumptuous, but I just had a feeling. So I said I wasn't hungry, even though I was starving. And yeah, I know I shouldn't have automatically made this assumption, but how do you say to somebody, yes, let's go to Subway, but would you mind ordering something vegan because I don't want to sit and watch you eat meat? It's hard, you guys. He drove me home, came up to my apartment to change and use the washroom, and that was it. He was very nice, gentlemanly. We messaged a few times since then, and then we kind of had a debate about veganism, and we never spoke again. So there's that. So that's where the dating app ends and the actual dating paid site begins. So that will be another video. That will be another story. I'm sorry that this one was so long, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, let me know. Don't be mean. And if you have any advice, that would be awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna keep you updated on my online trying to be open-minded dating journey. Have an awesome day. Mwah.